Hello and welcome to Unit 4, Part B. You'll notice that we are getting much closer because you've got the circumstance where the hand's coming in and it's slapping. So we've got everything at this point, hand coming in, but we do not have the tumbling elements of our currency. So that's what we're going to work on today. So let's go ahead and start where I left off, which is right particularly here. And you'll notice that as of right now, when we play our animation, comes up and that comes over. We haven't done anything with it yet, but once again, that comes up and that comes over. Now, let us continue. Okay, so what I've done for the American flag, or excuse me, the euro and the dollar, is I've split this this tween, and I've created another offshoot of what the tween does. So you'll notice that they spin out, right? Okay. So in order to do that, what I have to do is this. First off, I selected all of these, and I right-clicked, and then I selected a split frame, so it splits the motion, right? So I choose split motion. I did that earlier. Then what I did is I selected the item, so in my particular case it'll be the Japanese yen. Then I will move my playhead to this item right here. And then what I'll actually do is, since I've split the tween, right, is I'm going to actually move the yen down here, and it doesn't have to necessarily be right on there, okay? And then I'm going to rotate it. Now you'll notice that I have that rotation as I take my mouse pointer to the bottom part of the graphic, and going to spin it like this, so it's going to rotate. So what's going to happen is I'm creating this rotation where it's moving like this. Now, you won't see it where it flies off the screen, okay? So you'll only see the screen portion of it. Alrighty. So that's what I've done in order to create where the motion tween moves from here to here, because I've split that tween. Okay, so now that I've added the my particular movements between the tweens, I'm going to add a bounce and ease by refining the layer. So I made sure my US is selected. I go to this part with the motion tween that I've actually changed. I right click, and I'm going to choose to, I'm going to click within it. I'm going to refine the tween. Oh, it's being somewhat difficult at this point in time. Let me play around with this here. And I should be able to... I'm going to refine my tween. So I chose the euro, refine tween. And then after I choose refine tween, I am going to make sure I'm in my Y section. And I'm going to add my ease. Okay. So here's my add my ease. And then I'm going to choose bounce and spring. And I'm going to choose spring, and I'm going to choose, is it spring? Let me make sure. I'm going to use, bounce in, right? And I'm going to choose a 4. There's my 4 easing, so that's perfect. And what it's doing is it's adding that particular bounce to it, and I'm easing 4 for my data itself, right? And then once that's done, I right-click, and I'm going to close my refine tween. Then I'm going to go to click on my yen again. I'm going to right click. I'm going to refine tween. And then I'm making sure my Y is selected. I'm going to add my ease, bounce and spring. I'm going to choose bounce in. And this time I'm going to change my ease to 3. So there's my bounce in. And I'm going to make sure to change that to actual 3. Right? So now I've got all these items kind of bouncing in where that's concerned. Now you'll note that I had a little difficulty getting the US to work. There we go, my refined tween. So I come in, I have my Y selected. Here's my Y selected. I'm going to add my ease. I'm going to choose bounce and spring, bounce in, and I'm going to choose this to be 3 for my easing. Actually, it's the US one. So US is supposed to be 5, right? So that's 5, and then I'm going to turn that off. Now, since I couldn't get that to work with either the euro or the yen, I think it was a euro maybe. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to open this up, and I can choose my bounce in. Can I change my tween? Okay, so that's perfectly fine. So Now what happens when I run it, I turn this bad boy off, and now what happens when I run this is all of them hit, and then they kind of bounce as they go across. So now we've created a very similar animation to what we've been looking for so far. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another ease value to the X this time. So I'm going to refine, I'm going to choose X, and I'm going to add my ease. I'm going to do a simple, and I'm going to do a fast, and my easing is going to be at 50, right? So in this particular case, now I've changed them all that way. I went in to refine the tween and changed it to 50. And so now you got a situation where they come in, they get hit, and then they look to bounce, and they kind of bounce at different rates, right? Which is nice, right? So that's what we were actually after. Okay. So this actually concludes our our lesson 5. So if you have any questions for me, and remember, when you go to export this, you have this version, which is your actual file, and then you have a file, and you can export, and you can export an image, which won't help in this case, but you can export a movie, right? And it'll give you a JPG if you want to. Say this type, oh, we don't want JPG, and okay, we can do an SWF movie. That's actually pretty good, and I'm just doing my save as type, right? Or I could do a file, and I can do an export, and I want to export a video. I can export a video, and that'll give me the idea of 04 working copy.move. I can export it if I want to, that particular way. Or the last one is I can export a GIF that you have to download. All right, so that concludes our lesson 4. If there are any particular questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time.